President Donald Trump has ordered for fresh sanctions on Iran's metal industry and has vowed to keep squeezing the country financially unless Iran fundamentally alters its policies, according to the United States. And also the White House has announced that the sanctions are just hours after Iran had said that it will stop complying with certain parts of the nuclear agreement. Last weekend, remember, the United States had also deployed a carrier strike group and B-52 bombers in the Middle East in response to what it claimed were troubling indications and warnings from Iran. Now, Donald Trump has confirmed that the Chinese officials will be in Washington this week for trade negotiations. His announcement has revived hopes for a possible success in negotiations that currently appear to be on very shaky ground thanks to Donald Trump. And this comes just days after the White House's shocking statement that it will double the tariffs on no less than $200 billion worth of Chinese goods by tomorrow. The US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has attacked a long-standing ally Britain over its attitude towards China and Huawei. The United States has warned allies not to use Huawei's technology to build their new 5G networks. The United States fears that this would allow China to spy, an accusation that Huawei has denied. The United States has said that this could also affect Washington's sharing of intelligence with London. Britain, in turn, has indicated that it would allow a restricted role for Huawei in the country. Now, Venezuelan intelligence has detained deputy leader of the opposition-dominated National Assembly for backing a failed uprising on the 30th of April against President Nicolas Maduro. The 2 days of clashes between security forces and protesters was orchestrated by Juan Guaido's, which had left 6 people dead and dozens of others injured. The opposition leader Juan Guaido immediately took to Twitter to denounce the arrest of the National Assembly Vice President Edgar Zambrano. US President Donald Trump held a re-election rally in Florida after the Democrats warned of a constitutional crisis in the area. Now, the campaign rally comes as Trump and the congressional Democrats are locked in a bitter fight over constitutional powers related to Robert Mueller's report. Now, before the rally, the president also visited the storm-hit areas surrounding Florida, which are still reeling from the devastation of Hurricane Michael. The area has received about $1.1 billion in terms of disaster relief through mid-April. However, disagreements in Washington have left many still struggling to recover from the storm. The Los Angeles police seized more than 1,000 guns from a large mansion in the posh hillside area of Los Angeles. The search was conducted early morning after there was an anonymous tip-off regarding illegal firearm sales in the mansion. Guns were recovered along with weapons, manufacturing equipment and tools. And television news footage shows hundreds of rifles and handguns that were laid out on the driveway.
Okay.
And Brazil's newly elected right-wing president Jair Bolsonaro paid tribute to World War II veterans during a ceremony in Rio de Janeiro. He also justified the latest order easing the rules for carrying guns in Brazil during a press conference after the event. The mandate that has been recently signed has raised a limit on ammunition purchases to 5,000 cartridges per year for normal guns. Previously, imported arms had been banned if there was a similar domestic-made product. The French President Emmanuel Macron met with the United Nations-backed Libyan Prime Minister, and this comes at a time when the globally recognized government of Fayez al-Sarraj is extremely unhappy about the perceived support of Paris for the Eastern commander Khalifa Haftar. Haftar's Libyan National Army launched an offensive against Tripoli in early April, but has been blocked by the forces that are loyal to Tripoli. Paris, Rome, Berlin and London have coordinated on organizing the visits of Sarraj across Europe as a part of efforts to try and find a solution to the crisis. A barge and a crane are moving the Boeing 737 Miami Air international plane that ran off a runway and then landed up in a river at a Florida military base last weekend. The aircraft is being transported to a secure location for investigators to continue their work. It took almost about a day and for two crews on barges to lift the jet onto a third barge, which is estimated to weigh about 45 tons. None of the 143 people on board suffered any serious injuries from the emergency landing. However, 3 pets reportedly died during the cargo hold. Uber and Lyft drivers went on strike. The work stoppage is during the 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. rush hour. The strike was carried out in a number of cities in the United States and the United Kingdom, including in New York, Los Angeles and Glasgow. These drivers are protesting the company's labor policies. Uber is also supposed to make its Wall Street debut today. Qatar has opened its first ever metro line 3 years before the Gulf nation is due to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup. The metro line is expected to reach completion by the year 2020 and consists of 3 lines spanning across 37 different stations. It will cover more than 70 kilometers of Doha and has a total occupancy of almost about 416 people, traveling at a speed of 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. The metro is divided into 3 compartments: the standard class, family section and also the gold club. The fugitive diamond merchant Nirav Modi has been denied bail by a British court for a 3rd time in his extradition case to India. He has been accused of defrauding the Punjab National Bank. Besides, there is also a money laundering case against him. Nirav Modi had offered to double his security amount for a bail, which amounted to $2 million. The next hearing in the case is scheduled for the 30th of May. The Duke and the Duchess of Sussex appeared in a photo call with their baby son at the Windsor Castle, and the world also got a first glimpse of Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. A beaming Prince Harry said that his baby's looks are changing pretty much every day, and both Harry and Meghan thanked the media and everyone for their good wishes. Britain's Queen Elizabeth also met her great-grandson for the first time. A 76-carat Colombian emerald and diamond necklace is expected to fetch $4 million in an auction in Geneva. The necklace was created for the American social art and philanthropist Helen Beaumont. Along with the necklace and a diamond tiara is also expected to fetch as much as about $4.5 million. And the auction takes place on the 14th of May at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in Geneva. A French winemaker has created a wine called the Imp's Delight, which is inspired by the Game of Thrones. The wine is in honor of a famous character from the hit HBO series, Tyrion Lannister. Now, the wines are Merlot-based bottlings from grapes to mimic the fictional terroir of Dawn as described in George R.R. Martin's books, but they're also being sold only in Europe. But after producing some 30,000 bottles of wine featuring 2 lions' heads that refer to the Lannisters, Bardet has received a kindly worded letter from HBO asking him to stop. In the heart of Iceland's Volcano country, alchemists are transforming carbon dioxide into rock for eternity. The rock will be used for cleaning the air of harmful emissions that cause global warming. The technology would inject CO2 into porous basalt rock, where it would mineralize to carbon dioxide and capture it forever. The carbon dioxide, remember, is a greenhouse gas which is emitted in large quantities by Iceland's transport sector, industries and volcanoes.